Hi everyone, welcome again to another training section. My name is Oluwase Fadere. So today we'll be talking about the scrapping report. The scrapping report is also one of our reports that we use to identify and predict the direction of the market based on our inputs. And then the report is able to summarize and identify some trends report, which we'll then be able to use to project the market direction. So all we need to do is just to ensure that we get this report updated, identify the trend information, and monitor to see if the market is still following that trend or the market is trying to make a reversal or has made a reversal. And then we can be able to enter the market accurately, timely, to be able to give us the best of the profits, as well as minimizing or reducing the risk or the losses to the PRS minimum. So that is all that this scraping report helps to do. Okay, so now I'll be sharing my screen now to take you through some of the informations on the report. Remember, I told you this report is being updated on daily basis. So it only requires information concerning the current prices as well as the daily high and low prices over time, the time period. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now um, to see. Yeah, so this is the report, the scrapping reports for the month of May. Okay, the scrapping report for the month of May. So this is where we call daily high and low data. So that is where the daily high and low information is. So today, as you can see, today is the 4th of April. Okay. So like I told you earlier, these reports are prepared daily, except during weekends. So for weekends, because the prices don't change during weekends. So for the Fridays reports, they can always be prepared at any time. So usually maybe on a Saturday or whatever. Okay, so that's why this is being prepared today. If not, should have been updated since yesterday. So I'm going to start updates now. So I think so like I was explaining earlier, there's some reports. So let me see some of I was trying to explain some of the information on the report, which I'll soon do now. Okay. So let's just watch out this. So let me show you something. Okay, so just hold on. Yeah, welcome back. So like I was explaining earlier on the scrapping report, so we always have our daily high and low reports on this template. And then from there, we can now be able to identify decisions that will help our trading strategies and also information about the direction of the market. So for example, the first product is AUDJPY. Yeah, you can see AUDJPY. So we need to identify the high price and the low price for today. So coming to the MQL, here we have the AUDJPY. Sorry, so we have the AUDJPY here. You can see here. And the high price for today is for Friday, which is the third, is 110.3 23, so I just put it 110.4, and then the low poor price is 109.7. Okay, so come here, 110.4, 109.7. So for AUD USD, let me see if I have it on my report here. Okay, I don't have it, so let me get it there. So the next one is DAX, oil and DAX. So I think I have oil here, US oil. You can see 105.1 and 92.4, 105.1 and 92.4. So the reason is that this didn't change because there was no trading on that on Friday because of the holiday. Okay, so if you do USD before, so I have 0.689, 0.692, and 0.688. Okay, so for DAX, I think we should have for DAX. So yeah, this is DAX. You can see 23,347 and 22,668. 23,347, 22,666. So like I said again, there was no trading on that also. So that was why it remained like that. So the next one is Euro AUD. You can see 1.673, 1.667, 1.673, 1.667, 673, 1.667. So that's how all these updates are going to be completed to the last. Okay, so after completing it, we now identify the moves. You can see that every day has a color. Okay, so the purpose of this is to identify the trends changing from a green to a red and back to a green. Okay, that's the plan and that's the purpose. So we have our minimum distances that we have selected, that we have identified for each of the products. So when the market reaches that minimum distance and surpasses it, then we can start thinking of the market making a reversal at that point in time. Okay, so if it doesn't meet up, then we wait until it meets up to give us a safer entry point for the market. So that's the plan. Okay, so that's how we make use of that to identify the entry point accurately and timely. Okay, so for this, and then we also follow the trend. So you can see now that this 109.7 is higher than 109.3. So because of that, the the direction change is here for this period. But then if you look at this, this is 110.4 and the former red was 110.3. So because 110.4 is higher than 110.3, then we're going to color this red and change the former red to a yellow. Okay, so this will continue until it gets to the highest with a minimum distance. So for this, the minimum distance is, let's say, 2. So this means before we expect this to change, it must get to a minimum of 110.7. Okay, so once it gets to 110.7, then we can think of making a reversal downwards. So for this as well, you can see, so this also is a yellow here, but 0.692 is still lower than 0.697, so we don't do anything there. Okay, so 105.1 is at the top here, perfect. So 23,347 and 23,398. So you can see that 23,398 is still higher than 23,347. So we still keep that as, oh, okay. So now the low. So I think we can bring the low here now. So hoping that this is 20. 2,668, and this 23. So the minimum distance for this, I think, is 500 or 600. So if it's 500 or 600, then this is fine. It has met enough distance. Okay. So that's how we do continually for the rest of all the products. Okay. So when they've met that condition, then here we call it the direction movement. So this direction movement only identifies the green and the red. Okay. So unlike here that identifies both green, red, yellow, the direction movement adjustment only identifies the green and red. So for example, now at the top, so this is where our input is. Okay. So you can see before it was 110.3. So now it has changed to 110.4. Okay. So here you can see 0.683, 0.697. We have 0.683, 0.697. It has not given us a new red. You can see for the next one, we have 103.4, 92.4, 105.1. So you see here 103.4, 92.4, 105.1. Okay. Here as well, 21.9, 23.398, 22.668. You can say so. This is our projected minimum distance. So for anyone with the normal minimum distance, you can see we have a yellow and a light orange background with a black. For those with double the direction, they are in red. And for those with more than double, that are 2.5% upwards, or 2.5, yeah, sorry, 250% above the normal distance, then we color them in this color. So those ones are very good opportunities for market reversals. Okay. Doesn't mean that they may not go, they may still go further, but their return is always profitable. So that's the plan. And that is how we are able to identify those opportunities in the market. Okay, so after this, at the end of the day, we have a trend marker that gives us the average returns on the move every month. So this is the trend marker, and this trend marker is used to identify the direction of the market. So you can see here for AUDJPY is a buy, AUDS is a buy. Crude oil initially was a sell and then changed to a buy. Okay, so if the price should come below 96.67, then we start thinking of selling downwards. Okay, so you can see that most of them has given us their first direction. So all we need to do is to see it, follow that direction, or plan for the reversal in case the market wants to change direction. That's all. Okay, so this is what the information that this has been able to give us for now. So, and based on that, what we need to do now is to bring this in, okay, and copy it and paste it at the bottom side. So here I've already gotten the updates here already based on the current date. So what I've also done is that I have had this report. You can see here this report is from January to April for now. Okay. So between January and April, which is more like the first end of the first quarter, because the first quarter is March, I've been able to identify the trend, first trend of the market. Okay. So that is what I will now be able to use to follow the market for the rest of the year. So the first move here, so for example, AUDJPY, the first move is this low point. The second move is a high point at 111.72. So you can see that the market is now below 111.72. So I expect the market now to continue this trend upwards for the rest of the year. But if the high price comes below 111.72, After going upwards and coming down below it, then it becomes a sell. So the ability to identify that point that the market does not go above, the high price does not go above 111.72 is going to be the key for this market for the rest of 2026. So once we identify these positions, these last moves, and the market does not change again from that last move for now, then that means that direction is going to be key for the rest of the year. Okay, so that is how we'll be able to identify. And so based on that, we already have our current maximum and minimum points for now, according to that report. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to copy that also here, okay? But then the reason I'm copying that here is that for now, this is our updates as that. So this will be our updates, let's say as at April. Okay. So April 26. Yeah, so you can see there. So we have our updates here. So we can easily be able to compare that. So let's put that also here. But here will now be for December. Okay. That will be for December or for the last month. Okay, so for the current month. So what this is going to achieve now is that if this comes below this, then it means the market is selling. If the high goes above this, it means the market is buying. And if it buys and gets to the extreme point and doesn't change again, then we key into the market and take correct direction of the market henceforth. Okay. So this is a control price, remember? So this is not actually the highest price and the lowest price. So as you can see here, this is the real highest price. So for AUDJPY, for example, the real highest price is 114, but our control is 111.70. So when the price goes above this, then it becomes a buy upwards until it gets to the highest point and it's coming down. So currently, I think our current price is about 109 point something. Oh, okay. So you can see at this time, the current price is 110.2. So what that means now is that you can see 110.2 is in between. So it means when it goes above 1.72, it's going to be a buy. When it comes below 106.267, it becomes a sell. However, when it goes out of this and is returning back downwards, then it means that 111.72 will become a sell, and then we will now, the high position, which is the highest point of 114, will now becomes a buy. So we have two datas we are working on here now. So let me just give you an insight. So this is the first for each GPY. This is the first set of data. And then the second set of data is this. So this is part of how very, very complicated the system is. Okay. But then we need to know what we are doing. So this is the four datas that we are working on. Okay. That's the four data that we are working on. So now, for us to work on this, so let's now sort them out hierarchy, okay, from lowest to the highest. So we have 104.3, okay. Next is 106, we bring it here. Next is 111, we bring it here. Next is 114, bring it here, okay. So the current price is going to be within this range for now. So when the market current price is in between this, 114 becomes a buy, 111.7 becomes the sell. When the current price comes in between this, 111.7 becomes a buy and 106 becomes a sell. And when the price comes between this, 106.2 becomes a buy and 104.3 becomes a sell. Okay. Yeah, so sorry for that trans breaking transcript. So like I was saying earlier, so when the price comes in between these, then 106.2 becomes a buy and 104.3 becomes a sell. Okay, so that will be the plan. Okay, so we need to identify the market moves effectively and efficiently. So these four prices will now be our control point that will help us for the rest of the year. So this becomes the highest and this becomes the lowest. Okay. So this becomes the highest. Okay. So this becomes the lowest. Okay. So then this becomes the second highest and this becomes the second lowest. Okay. So wherever the prices are will now determine. So with this, we'll be able to use this to plan the market for the long run for the rest of the year. So currently now, because of the current price, let's identify the current price. Okay, for ADPY, like I showed earlier, so you can see ADPY, the current price is, let's say, 110. Okay, so according to that theory, the current price is 110, so it's in between here. Okay, so 110. Okay, so that's the current price. So because of that, it's going to be, so because of that, you can see here, so 106 becomes our sell and 111.7 becomes our buy. Okay, that is based on the current position. So this will now be used as our final tracker to help us to identify the market positions and take action effectively, correctly, and timely. Okay, so that's how this is going to help us on the long run, as well as the short-term movement of identifying the trend of the market as buy or sell. Okay, so mostly for this market, it usually goes one, two, or three times. Sometimes it go four times, but either way, but in most cases, either once or twice in 80%. So like this now, this is twice. So it's likely that crude oil, for example, may just be above 96.68 for the rest of the month, or it comes down below 96.68 and never goes up again. So 96.68 becomes our control point for a sell. Okay, while 93.867 becomes our control point for a buy. So that is how we'll be able to trace it. So for example, here you can see 110.13 is our maximum, and the market is saying a buy for now. Can you see? So it means that the highest point should now be above 110.13. So just like we checked there, you can see the highest point is 110.328. Okay. So anytime, and you can see our low is 109.73. So anytime our high, which is 110.3, comes below 110.13, which we have here, then it means that the market will be selling. And then at the end of the day, we are likely to have a sell icon after this buy icon. So that is what that is going to mean. Okay. So, um, so let me just show you an example of this template in the month of March. Okay. So we just finished March indirectly. So, but I'll take the report from our April week 0. Okay. So remember, this is BOFAD. So let's look at the name of the strategy. This is um this is um scrapping, daily high and low data. Okay. Yeah, perfect. So this is scrapping reports. Okay. So we're going to look at scrapping reports in our week 0. Okay. So F scrapping, you can see this is it. So yeah, so this was it then. Can you see? So this is for March. Okay. So you can see, like I said, sell, buy. This was sell. This is sell all through. This is one sell. This is buy, sell, sell. So this is buy, sell, buy. Can you see that's it? 3 times maximum. Buy, sell, buy. So that's once, twice, buy, buy. You see, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy and sell. Can you see that? So, and then it gives you the price range to take those actions. So when the low goes above 110.53, take a buy. When the high comes below 111.4, take a sell. Okay. So like look at these DAX. So when the high comes below 24,507.5, take a sell. When the low goes above 23, take a buy. So if you look at the trend for the market, then you can see here 25, 24, 24, those are the highs. Okay. But the low came as low as 22,684. Can you see that? So if you have followed the rule, then it means you could have sold right from 24,507, as you can see here, 24,507 downwards to as low as 23,897 or even as low as 22,684. Okay, so the ability to identify which side came first out of these two is very, very key. You can use that to get the best results. Okay. So don't let me bore you too much on this, but these are part of the information and the logics that we have developed that will help us to get good entry points into the market. Thank you very much and have a great time ahead. Cheers. Bye.